That cooled off at the end, that intro, like the form of Liverpool and United over here. Welcome, everybody, to Rival Bros. What is this? The 7th episode, I think. Match week 6 is in the books. We'll talk a lot about that. We'll talk about the freaking Galatasaray fiasco from yesterday. I am your host, as always, Timucin, representing Liverpool, and my freaking jinxed brother, who I totally blame. I was talking about in the morning show too. I blame you for yesterday's result, because when you have somebody from United rooting for you, this is the kind of shit that goes down, because we play like United.
You played like United, you played like Fenerbahce, all the teams I support. And Tuna was saying last night, my son, we were watching, whatever team I support turns out to play like Fenerbahce, he said. So I think he's a Liverpool fan, as you know. But correction, you said we will talk a little bit about Galatasaray game. I think we have to extend that, because
man, I just literally talked an hour about it. So
there's another reason not to like. I won't say hate, but not to like Liverpool, definitely, because I think that was a disastrous performance. And I did expect that, to be honest. And the performance of Galatasaray, maybe we have to talk about as well.
Yeah, especially coming from the Frankfurt game, they were going to be all in, because if they get something out of the Frankfurt game, this is more of a throwaway game, but they couldn't afford another throwaway game. So they knew they were going to come into it at least to get a point, if not more. I know it just felt like we were way too naive. And, we know how Galatasaray plays the dark arts and stuff like that. That's why the first goal was important. None of this was new to us, because we see Galatasaray week in and week out. But initially, Liverpool fans thought, man, they're getting a lot of injuries. Nope, nobody's hurt. They just lay around the grass once they take the lead and kill off the game. Anytime we had a momentum going for 10 seconds, somebody from Galatasaray happened to get injured and stuff like that. And this is sadly what they do. I keep going back to last season. I think, when you look at the lineup and how we played and what we tried, whatever the hell is that we tried, I kind of take it as they took this as a throwaway game. Yeah, definitely frustrated.
Yeah. Liverpool actually, looked frustrated, but also frustrated whoever was rooting for Liverpool as well, because there was nothing happening from minute one. The first 11. I follow football, but I think you were more frustrated at the squad that he actually named to start. And you were saying over WhatsApp that I don't know who's playing where.
Yeah, initially we didn't know, you assumed, Frimpong, and, Frimpong obviously was up top and Szoboszlai was right back. I thought that was a mistake going against Burish. We talked about it this morning a little bit. I think it was not very well scouted in that sense, putting Szoboszlai in front of Burish, and then they get a really cheap penalty, but those penalties are penalties in the Champions League, not in the Premier League. That would not be given in the Premier League. That would have just kept going. But you got to know, this is what I was talking about with John just before this. You got to know who you're playing against, and you can't sneeze next to Barış, because that's his thing. And him from Euros too, like from the Turkish national team. He's fast, he's physical, and then he forces you to play physical with him, and then he suddenly becomes a 10-year-old boy, and he'll takes the dive, and he falls, and he acts like something happened to him, and that's God's side way of playing.
Have you seen the video? From the back of the goal? He's down there after the penalty, holding his face and sort of squirming over there. And Yunus comes over and he says, "We got it. We got the penalty." And he suddenly
jumps up.
Yeah.
That's Galatasaray in a nutshell for you.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
A disgusting group of players the moment they put that jersey on. Yeah, you saw everything. That's why is Galatasaray disgusting? All you have to show is this game probably, and everybody will be on the same page now. But yeah, poor performance from Liverpool on the back of the Crystal Palace performance. I thought the first half actually was a lot better. And
Yeah,
that's why the first goal was important. And obviously, it's Murphy's law. You miss that on one end, it comes
yeah,
back and becomes a penalty. If that goes in, that's a total different game. They can't lay around and slow the game anymore. So Liverpool plays a lot more fluid, and you get more goals and stuff. But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. And I think it was more frustrating watching. I mean, when Steven talks about frustrating, I think the frustrating part watching as a Liverpool fan is I don't know what we're trying to do to break down a defense. Why I know what we're trying to do, but it's not working. Why do we keep trying to do it? And that's why I was going to ask you. In some ways, I was playing the devil's advocate to John earlier, like putting Wirtz in there, trying to kind of like force him into the lineup and stuff. Will we look back in December and say, well, I'm glad he did all that in the beginning? Because now if you play it safe and play your regular midfield, Slav was talking about this. I kind of mentioned this, so I might as well talk about it now. But Slav was talking about it in an interview that they won the Premier League last year comfortably because they played the same lineup regularly, especially in midfield and throughout. We didn't have a lot of injuries, but we played the same lineup regularly, and people were used to each other. But when March came, those legs got tired. So when you went against PSG, when you went against Newcastle in the final and stuff, that team was tired. So he was talking about kind of like learning from that. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot more rotation now. You're trying to put Wirtz in there and stuff. But then here's the most worrying part about what he said. They asked him which one would he want to win, Premier League or Champions League, if he had to pick one. And he said Champions League. And if you want to win Champions League, you got to play good February, March, April, not right now. And that's kind of like what worries me. Are we kind of like experimenting now? And I'll be honest, I mean, you probably the same way. You wouldn't care. You wouldn't even watch it because it wasn't Liverpool, it wasn't Galatasaray. But if Liverpool played Genk or freaking Dinamo Zagreb or something like that, I would not care about this game as much because we know what happened last year in the Champions League.
Yeah, two things about what you say is one of them. I see your wishful thinking side, because we also know if you do a lot of rotation, then you lose sense of your first 11, and that
Yes.
doesn't make sense. At one point, you say, "I'll rest this guy. He played very well," and then he loses confidence or whatever they lose, or the contact. And it then becomes very difficult to have a classic first 11.
Yes.
Which is, I think, the I don't know, sign of times, because there are a lot of games. It is not possible to carry on the first 11, a classic
Yeah,
11,
because they're playing
throughout
every
the
2-3
season,
days.
unless you give away some of the competitions like League
Yeah.
Cup, blah blah. That is the first thing. The second thing, I think that we were talking about this this morning as well, or our morning. It shows the awfulness of this new system. The thing that you lived through
Yes.
last season. Now all the teams, all the big teams, are now looking at this stage as in EuroLeague, for example, in basketball.
Yeah.
If you're in the first eight, who cares how you finish? If you sort of are going to get, if everybody can win every game, and I end up with PSG after finishing
Yes.
first. And why should I finish first? So I have to give away some of the games, as you say. If it was Dinamo Zagreb yesterday, well, good for Liverpool. They sort of they are taking their pace. But this is something like week 7, the 6 programs we talked about Liverpool and Man United. We were talking about the habit of winning.
Yes.
And I think it is the same as United is experiencing now. The habit of losing is also as catchy.
Yeah.
And you are losing confidence. And more importantly, your opponents are actually gaining confidence.
Yes.
So that's the danger there. Anybody from the Premier League, for example, or from Europe, more like Premier League, because the level of press and falling down and that sort of thing Galatasaray exhibited yesterday, any Premier League team can do. Would you agree on that?
No, because I
No.
don't think the refereeing lets it go as much.
Ah, okay.
You see some, right? Like you saw it in the Burnley game and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I think the referees, like, they don't let you. I think it's a lot on the referees to stop that. So what happens, and like, this too. Like, it's not like the guy just started over here. He's like, he came from a different planet.
Yeah.
You would think as a referee, they know this, right? And they know how to go about it. I've been refereeing for freaking 8 months over here. I already seen some freaking of these coaches trying to pace their subs because they do as many subs as they want. For example, I played this game, I ref this game the other day. They're up by 1, and he had 2 guys lined up over there. And I was like, I called for subs. Only one of them came in. And I was like, is that a guy not a sub? But why is he standing there then, kind of a deal? He's like, oh, no, he's going to come in a little bit. No, he's not. I'm not going to stop the game to let that guy come in now because I know what you're trying to do. Yeah. You're going to have to freaking wait now until I tell him to come in. I think if a ref sees that, when you see Torreira and, Lerma and all these Lemina and stuff, these guys laying around all the time, if you make him wait 30 seconds, 45 seconds before you let him in, I think things will change. That's the only way to change that behavior because then, I'm slowing the game down, but I'm leaving 10 men out there for 45 seconds.
Fair enough. Okay, question for you. If it was Anfield yesterday, would the game be stopped with Osimhen squirming in the and refusing to get up after?
No, because I think the pressure comes from the fans, right? Yeah. So if Osimhen is down, Anfield is not going to give a damn. They're actually going to be like, let's go, let's go, let's go. So you're going to attack. When it's the other one, when the whistles come, I think John was talking about that. The ref really caved into the fans yesterday and to the atmosphere a lot more than you would expect somebody of his experience to do, to be honest with you. He caved in a lot, stopping those. Because that situation, if we're talking about the same one, Galatasaray kept playing.
Yeah.
Then they lost the ball. So why are we stopping?
The
moment they lost the ball, they were like, he's down. That's why we lost it. So, but that's on the ref. I blame the ref for that to enable Galatasaray to pull some of that stuff.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
We blame the refs in Turkey for enabling Galatasaray.
Oh, yeah. He wouldn't have played that far anyway because he let it go for about maybe 45 seconds.
He would have given a penalty or something.
Yeah. Another question. What is the talk in the Liverpool side? Looking at Osimhen, do you, for example, think that the Liverpool guys said, wait a minute, could we use this guy? Do you think there's a window open to get this guy away from Galatasaray?
I think if you sign Isak, maybe you would say it's not like he was cheap. If it was 30 million, we're like, dude, we could have had this guy for 30. Yeah, but
exactly.
And I think, if Ekitike did not start as well as he did, maybe then you would do a comparison because nobody's going to compare him to Isak. Because Isak has done it in the Premier League, right? You would probably compare him to Ekitike. If, what are we 8-9 games in now, and you're not getting any production from Ekitike, then maybe I can see some. I did not hear any of that, just because I think what you're comparing to, people are happy with what we have. Okay. We're not saying because I think everybody realizes the problem is not the guy in the box. The problem is getting it to the guy in the box. So none of that talk really for Osimhen or anything like that. Was Osimhen something exceptional yesterday? Not really. We play against, as Fenerbahce in Turkish league, we play against 5-6 attackers, strikers like that who are physical, gonna win some air balls, give the center back some hassle. If anything, the criticism came to Konate a lot for not winning the duels because anytime he went against Van Dijk, he lost the duel. in the
Correct.
headers and stuff like that. Anytime he
Correct.
went against Konata is the only times he had any like success. So I don't think so. I don't think anybody walked away from that game and saying like, man, we should have signed that dude.
Okay.
I think
Fair enough.
everybody blames more us than like admires.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the approach by Slot, and
Yes.
this actually adding up to the Palace game and this one and Chelsea game coming up is the credit over? I'm wondering. I mean, the Klopp side is now becoming a Slot side. Um, is that what you think as
Yeah,
well?
I mean, I think more than who, the number of people that are different. I think
Yeah,
it's kind of like the plan is going to take time, and that's why I guess the hopeful side of me says, we look at back at this 2-3 months from now, because everybody's already wants to go back to default settings, right?
yeah,
You try something new, and now everybody wants the default settings back. Same midfield. Let's go back to the same four. Okay, then why were you jumping up and down when we signed all these people? It seems the
yeah,
safe way to go. And I'm not totally against it at times because I feel like we're kind of trying to force Veers in. But you gotta do it sometime. So, and it is going to take time. It is not overnight. So my hope is 2-3 months from now, when we look back, we say, well, I'm glad we freaking like didn't go back to default settings there, over there. And like we kind of pushed it, get this established, because now we're rolling in like January, February. So that's, I think, the hope. I don't know if it's about credits. Fans are, stupid fans are everywhere, especially online. I mean, we
yeah.
see it with Fenerbahce all the time too. And but John in the house, we were just talking about a lot with the John. Are you okay? Let's get to that. Let's get to yeah. I mean, I think because that's the problem, right? It's like if you're pulling the trigger that fast and repeatedly, that's the problem. So I wanted to talk about this because we did talk about this guy. You mentioned this guy I had not even heard of until last week. And now it's one of those things where like every time I turn, I run into this freaking hair.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it and my phone listens to our conversations. Now everywhere I go, I see this dude. I suddenly get suggested Instagram accounts and crap like that. So looks like he's not gonna get a haircut anytime soon. That was the first game of the weekend where Brentford 3, Manchester United 1.
Okay. 3 or 4 episodes ago, first of all, to answer John, no, I'm not. Because that is not the problem. It's just changing the guy to hate. Because every new manager that comes in will try something and get us back to the beginning. I'm not sure Amorim is the problem here, but about the very first episodes,
Yeah.
I have which Tim didn't believe. We have a Turkish saying, and I just brought this
Of course,
to.
you can use technology. So let me help you out over
No,
here.
exactly. Yes, please. Yeah. Okay. Monkey's ass, as open as monkey's ass. We say that this is
Okay,
the.
we do not say this. Stop saying we say this. Nobody says this.
Yes,
I
we
have
do.
never heard anybody say this. Just made up some
Okay,
saying.
but you know what they mean by this, yeah. Okay, so the problem was as clear as a monkey's ass. Was first the keeper, two midfield, and especially Bruno Fernandes, the captain.
The
And
biggest ass of them all.
maybe because if you look at Brentford game, yes, we conceded 2 goals. First goal, I'm not sure he could do anything with that. Anybody could do anything with that. The second, maybe. But if you have a goalkeeper, you expect them to pull something off. If you have a goalkeeper in a I don't know, a team like Liverpool, or because we were talking about this as well, your lack of keepers before Ali
Yeah.
actually prevented you from many uh, games, or sort of hanging on to the title race. It's the same with United. Altay, well, I like him because he's Turkish and he's from Fenerbahce, blah blah, but he's not enough. So they what did they do? They got a 23-year-old who they can't even sort of put in front of Altay. So that is stupid, and it is one of the reasons that the team cannot get something together.
Why do you think that guy is not playing? Because
Well,
didn't, I mean, we assumed, I'm sure you
Amarim
assumed.
says Altay has the experience to do that, but that affects the center backs, which are lousy anyway. So you didn't get, you were too busy getting sort of right winger or a left winger, which has nothing to do with the problems that United are facing. But what happened in the Brentford game? Yes, we conceded 2 goals, then we came back into it. And the second half, United was playing real well. Not the first time this season. We have shown some good movements off the ball as well, attacking sort of something that we didn't see last season or any time that I remember under Ten Hag, for example. But what happens? You get the penalty because of the pressure. Brentford was actually losing their nerves. And what does your idiot captain do? An awful penalty.
It is an awful penalty, yeah.
Yeah, and then the team, it was fragile anyway. But United's game is a fragile game, so we actually lost that because of the keeper and our captain, which the monkey's ass again shows clearly. I don't know why. Thank you. Why? I don't know why they don't address this problem and keep on sort of getting forwards and leaving the midfield to Fernandez and the stupid ass guy who got a red card last week unnecessarily, leaving the midfield like this week. They're all.
Who made that call, you think? When he was, I mean, they had a chance to get rid of him for a lot of money to the Saudis.
Yeah,
was that Fernandez saying, "No, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia," which I wouldn't blame him, or was it Amarim who said, "Dude, stay. I need you. You're my captain." Like, who do you think is the main person behind keeping Fernandez there? The club didn't want him to go because he's the only really quality player they have that other teams might want.
Is he? I mean, that I think is a bullshit in its own right, because he's a very
quality, but
he's a very good player. But it's not correct to say he's the only quality player in the squad. That is stupid. I mean,
when we talked about it last year, right? When we watched that final with you in Tottenham, and we were talking about who would we take to Fenerbahce from that squad, we couldn't come up with anybody. One of the players that we talked about was Fernandez, who we would take in terms of quality, but not because of personality.
Yes.
So obviously he's the best one then, because that was one of the few guys we would take.
Yes, but well done. But that's the thing that I'm talking about. Is it because he is the only quality player, or his presence there makes everybody lose their quality? I think it is the second one.
Really?
I know it is.
I mean, he's always, I mean, obviously he has the ball the most, and if he looks at it, he's always like the most chances created and stuff like that for.
Yeah. Well, Amorim is not does not look as a commanding leader, does he? He doesn't look the part. So he needs
Fernandez?
Amorim.
Oh, Amarim? No, because the dude is like shaky, and he doesn't look like it. No,
he sort of is a man of the people, like our sort of Ismail. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, more friendly, like blah blah. But you need somebody on the pitch that doesn't sell you out in press conferences, and more commanding, and sort of can get you in action, not egoistic, and more like a commanding figure. If you don't have it on the sidelines, you have it on the
Yeah.
pitch. I'm not saying about the quality of football, but I'm saying about the quality of personality, because that avoids the other quality, which they are all,
Yeah.
obviously, because they are playing for United, they're coming in for millions of pounds, for example. So I'm not buying that. He's the only quality. If he's using all the chances, and using all the penalties, so that's two in a row now. He has actually uh, avoided our momentum of play by missing those penalties. So I rest
Yeah,
my
I
case.
mean, look, it's like probably he's in my top 5 most hated players. Neymar is still over there because he hasn't retired yet, but like
Yeah.
he's definitely in the top 5 just because of personality. Just like a disgusting human being to watch. To be honest with you, it's just like aggravating to watch. I wouldn't want him nowhere near. I don't care how good he is because of his like personality and stuff. The funny thing was, Euro didn't start after that. What do you make? I mean, I thought that was
Exactly.
really odd that when he calls the dude out, everybody says, mind you, he's wrong too. It's not really Euro's fault. You watch that over and over again. And the next game, Euro does not start. Isn't that
and
weird? Where
and
the
and the
manager
same. The
doesn't back
next
up
two
the team.
games, the next two games, Euro doesn't start.
What do you
So
make of that?
that
I forgot to ask you about that because it's just
no,
like, what the hell?
that maybe is the answer to your question. It's Bruno calling the shots here, rather than Amarim. So everybody is actually blaming Amarim because nobody is looking at, and they are saying he is our most quality player. Bullshit. Bullshit. I mean, the thing that United is lacking now is some of the games we feel it's coming back because they are not playing badly, but at the times of these sort of critical turning points, like the penalty.
Yeah.
If he scored, it's a 2-2. It's a comeback, and I think we would be completing that comeback because Brentford was out. As soon as we missed that penalty, the fans sort of woke up, and
Yep.
after that it was downhill, really.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole, the fantasy about not the monkey's ass,
The
the standing
fantasy
circle.
about the monkey's ass, that is something. Okay, even for Liverpool.
But yeah, I mean, the whole thing about getting this streak going goes down again. And I think when we talked back, I had asked you to predict how many points, and I don't think we're nowhere near, are we? And that's with
No,
surprising win against, who was it that they won against?
Burnley,
No, I mean that wouldn't be the surprising one.
Chelsea. We beat Chelsea, didn't we?
Oh, Chelsea game. Yes. I didn't think they were going to beat Chelsea either, to be honest with you. But when
And
we looked at those games, I think at the time it was, you didn't want to put Liverpool game in there. So it was Burnley, City, Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland. I think you said what's 10 to 12, right?
yeah, okay.
They're
Coming
at
going
6.
back, going back. Um, Brentford game, as I said, it was a waste of your sort of the good effort that the players
Yeah.
came in. Chelsea game finishing 1-0 was a surprise after the sending off. That should have been at least 3 or 4 nil, especially in the first half, until the idiot have had himself sent off stupidly.
To be
So
fair, though, Chelsea went down to 10 man really fast on that one, too.
yeah, I mean, but again, I mean, they were still in it. We kept them in it
Yeah, true.
because
Yes.
we came back as a 10-man thing. So all the Brentford game, I think we would have hit that target. That is the difference between United and Liverpool at the moment, because you won at the 90th plus minutes because you knew you could be scoring. and all the team
Yeah.
was behind that belief, so they kept on. Here we miss a penalty, and I'm sure all the players are saying, "Oh, here we go again."
Probably. I mean, that's what the worry is now with Liverpool. That's why I think the Chelsea game is pretty big this weekend, because you want to be like, you want to go, especially going into the international break. To be fair, you guys beat Burnley in the 97th minute penalty too. So those 3 points came in at the very last gasp. And I don't know. So are you optimistic about the Sunderland game?
Optimistic. We should win it.
Yeah,
I'm not optimistic. I think we will have a win.
That's my upsets pick this week. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Leeds 2, Bournemouth 2. Let's go back to these games real quick. Of course, if I can find the window over here, I can kind of slide back and forth. Okay. Chelsea 1, Brighton 3. Chelsea, I think they're like 5 games in a row now. They've seen a red card in a game. So they're on a kind of not the nicest streak over there. I mean, is it too early, too premature to say they're going to be nowhere near a title race?
No, I think we already said this about 3 weeks ago.
When they started losing points, we were like, they're not going to be consistent, I think is what we were
from week 1.
Yeah.
At home. So a good year for you, John was asking. I think we will finish above Chelsea.
I will take that bet.
Go on.
What are we betting? I'm taking that bet because I don't.
Okay, we are coming. We are coming for the wedding, hopefully. So I will have something upfront, or not upfront, but
you might as well send it up front because you're going to lose that one. So go ahead and send it over now. I'll promise to wait until the end of the year to wear it or whatever it is.
No, we'll see. We'll see about that.
City make easy work of Burnley, 5-1. Palace, Liverpool. I mean, that was, if it wasn't for Ali, that game could have gotten away very early. Could have been 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 in the first half. Yeah. And Liverpool almost pulled a miracle.
Going back on the City game. That game didn't look very easy for about 15 minutes. 15-20 minutes. That game looked really it looked like it will be choked by Burnley. Do you think City is gaining confidence with these wins? No,
I don't think so. Okay. I think City is basically an advanced version of Chelsea in the sense that I think they're a better team. They have more confidence. They know better what they're doing. But they're still not good enough not to lose points and win consistently. I just don't see it. I mean, some of the points they've lost have been like odd ones too. Like the Palace away is, I'm hoping it's going to be kind of like the Forest game of last year, where it at the time it looked like what the hell. But I think Palace is a good team first of all, and it could be one of those.
Even though they lost Eze. Though
I think but I think that's a lot of the consistency too. That's the only thing they've lost really. So it's the same core. They can counter like crazy. I mean, Crystal Palace will give every team a lot of like headaches over there. So it's not a horrible loss. It just hurts more, I think, because we kind of got a taste of our own medicine and because of some stupidity, which, I mean, I should ask you that. I don't know if you watched the end of the game, but Slot even like kind of said, like some of the guys were more eager to counter. So we kind of like let that defending go in the last second with that throwing because we were more about winning the ball and going on a counter and stuff. And I think like Gally and I were talking about this on one of the shows and he was kind of like criticizing it, but I almost feel like that goes back to the winning mentality because they felt like, and I felt like as a Liverpool fan, I don't know if were you watching the game?
Not live. I watched the highlights.
But when Liverpool scored, even though it was late, I still were like, we can actually get this again. Like we can do this again kind of a thing. It was that kind of belief. So I don't blame the players to kind of like trying to still counter, but it did hurt to give away like a really, really silly goal just because we couldn't clear it. And because if Kerkez clears that with his right foot, he's probably blowing the whistle. because it's past 96 minutes already. But because he kind of did this weird thing and gave him a throw-in, he let the throw-in happen and the goal comes in and stuff. Otherwise, it would have been a huge points gains, to be honest with you, in that away game.
Because you were expecting a loss of points, not a loss
Yes.
of game, but you were expecting a 1-pointer. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been a disastrous score. I wouldn't have been like, I can't believe we didn't beat Crystal Palace, because it's not that kind of a game. Forest 0, Sunderland 1. And I know Forest is going through the motions over here, but Sunderland's, I think, our early season predictions of who's going to get relegated and stuff, is it too early to adjust those? Because some of these guys are making some runs that we did not expect.
Yeah, I think, well, West Ham is one of them as well. Mine, at least, and changed the manager pretty quickly there. So
Yeah, they did.
I'm not sure if they will. Forest changed the manager as well, but I don't know what's happening with Forest, to be honest. Rather than focusing on Sunderland, but they have got a few points under their belt. I'm not sure they can keep up, especially at Old Trafford, I hope.
Oh, you're talking about Sunderland can't keep up. I don't know. Like, I mean, here's the thing: 11 points right now.
Yeah, they got a lot in their pocket. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll see.
I think they have like players over there that can kind of like make things happen, and I think that's why, like, they can counter. They can score goals. That kind of like helps the cause. And like when you look at relegated teams, it's always the ones that can't get anything across the line, kind of a deal, or obviously like defending wise. But I do think they do get something. Well, we'll call that on the upsets over there. But Tottenham 1, Wolves 1. Vitor finally gets a freaking point over there. It looked like it was going to go downhill, but he does get the points. And I think that was your upset pick, right?
Yes, I was. And they won in the League Cup as well, didn't they? So he had a good week.
He did have a good week. I don't know. I'm still torn on do they have enough to keep going over there. So who are they playing this week? We'll look at that real quick over here. But
does that tell you more about Vitor's team or Spurs? That draw.
Probably Spurs.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
It goes back to what we say about Chelsea. Like, there are some teams that are really good teams, but they're not good consistently. And you can't count on them and say, that's an easy 3 points for them. That's an easy 3 points for them and stuff. If it was Arsenal playing Wolves, I wouldn't even have a hope of Arsenal losing points in that game, for example.
No, that's correct.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So we're on the same page there. I think there's some teams that are like good, but not that good.
Yeah, that's the difference between a good team and the champions, I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's why the closest I can put in that conversation is City.
Okay.
And that feels like more based on their experience and their ability, like having a guy like Haaland who can score and stuff, than anything else. Because I don't know if like Haaland was at Spurs or something like that, you would kind of like flip the script a little bit and say, hey, at least they can get goals. I just don't, like I say, City is the closest thing that I feel like would be more of a sure bet to win a game, as opposed to like definitely Tottenham or Chelsea. Villa 3, Fulham 1. This was my upset pick. It started out really good and it went downhill over there. Newcastle 1, Arsenal 2. Man, I was refereeing, so I didn't get to watch the game. I just saw the highlights afterwards. And when they were up 1-0, and I was like, man, this could be big, because in a week where we lost, if they lose 2, that would be huge. And then they come back to win it in the last second. Quite a few questionable calls there with the handball and stuff. What did you make of that handball call, for example, with the Newcastle one? I thought it was your leaning. I think the argument was it's coming off of his body.
Yes, that's what the argument was. But if you look at the game overall, I think the referee was more leaning towards Arsenal the whole game. Because Newcastle was very frustrated with ref the whole game, even when they were leading. The way he stopped the game, or stopped the game when Newcastle was taking a quick free kick and stuff. So a couple of things there that makes you say, well, he's not sort of 100% sort of in the middle, a little bit to the to the red side. But again, you have to admire Arsenal again, like Liverpool, to hang in there, like they did in the City game. They keep trying, don't they? They don't give up.
Yeah.
They feel they can sort of get something from it, and I think a point. If you watch the game until 85th minute, for example, when they got the goal, woo, phew, yeah, we got a point from there.
Yeah.
With that game, that's a fair result. But getting a win there, that was extra, I think.
Yeah, especially at St. James Park. That's a huge 3 points. I was definitely not happy to see that go
No.
down because I felt like our win at Newcastle is a very valuable 3 points. That's a very tough place to go. And I think
And
that's why,
they lost both those games in the very last gasp. So that sort of that's something Eddie Howe should be thinking.
that's true too. I mean, I think that's another thing where Newcastle, especially at home, sometimes they get under the influence of the fans a lot more, where they like try to go for the win and kind of like get exposed, which is what happened in our game. Like they kind of got lost in that momentum themselves and forgot about it. But it takes a good team, and that's what I was, actually when we're going back to that conversation, that's what I was telling Gally. If you wanted Liverpool against Palace to not go for the counter and play a bit more controlled and stuff at the end and like just finish the game off, if you take that approach, you don't beat Newcastle. You don't go on the counter where Rio scores that goal. So you can't have it both ways. And I'd rather have the aggressive way. I know sometimes, a point is almost like a win based on how the game went. But I mean, you got to ride them. You got to play to win the game at the end of the day. So I can't like complain too much about that. But yeah, you're right about Newcastle there. Everton won, West Ham won. What do you make of the NBA manager changes happening in the Premier League now, where people are getting rehashed over and over again, which most teams we see are either going after a really big name or they're going after like somebody young, up and coming kind of a deal. And then there's the third category where they're like, at least he knows we say this in the Turkish league, right? Like he knows the league kind of a thing, and then kind of like recycle the same guy in there. And nothing against Nuno. Do they just think he just got a raw deal at Forest? So that's really fast to get a job a week later.
That is fast. It will be interesting to
Mourinho,
see.
If you
Yeah. Well, he got that, and he lost to Chelsea, didn't he, yesterday? So it's X team. Maybe he will say, "I'm not up to my standard in Benfica too. I have to Premier League." But if you have all the players, then it's easier to get the result, isn't it? If you are sitting,
for example, though, like none of these guys actually did go after Mourinho, because I know when he was at Fenerbahce, the West Ham rumors were like brewing because West Ham was sucking. Then I think they won one game, so they were like, "Here's Potter ball and stuff," and then they went down again.
Forest had
Forest was as well. Are you shocked that they chose to recycle? They could have pulled the plug on Potter and went after Mourinho the moment he was available. You got to figure, if you have your eye on somebody, the moment he becomes available, be like, "Hey, if you're gonna do it, we got to do this," because they literally did it a week later, getting rid of Potter. Are you shocked that Mourinho did not get a look on one of those? Not that he wouldn't be a rehash.
I don't think so, because I think people know about his antiques, and they don't want to lose more time. To about the recycling thing, I'm happy with the recycling, which always happened. Like anybody who brought in sort of Sam Allardyce or Hudson or something like that. Because I think it's just the names that change, but the cycling.
But usually, like for example, Big Sam and stuff, there are some guys who are anti-relegation. That's their specialty. Right? I save people from relegation. But this is early in the season, so it's more of like a long-term decision. It's not like it would be one thing to say, "Hey, he knows how to get points in the Premier League, and all we need is freaking points right now to stay up." So the Nuno choice, for example, is like when you're making a change. What is it, 6 weeks in, for God's sakes? It's very Turkish league-like, by the way. So that's like a more long-term decision.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, because I think it's a panic decision, because they're looking at the table and seeing, for example, Sunderland picking up points. Boy, who are we going to overtake uh, to, to stay in this league if it isn't, for example, Sunderland or Leeds or Burnley or whatever. So I think it's a panic decision, and I don't think it's going to work for West Ham, to be honest. Although they got a valuable point at Everton.
So, like looking at the standings over here, God, look, you guys are over there towards the bottom of the table again.
Yeah,
But what do you make of 6 weeks in? Which we always do this, right? I mean, it's early in the season. Well, it's 6 weeks in, if you think about it. We're all, we're getting there. So relegation predictions, have they changed?
I don't know what my third one was. Was it Sunderland? Sunderland, Burnley, and West Ham, I think.
Yeah, because I went basically 3 up,
Yeah,
3
well, we
down.
don't even see Sunderland here, for God's sake. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Sunderland's 6th or 5th.
Fifth. Okay. Well, they got as much as well, they got more than City, did they?
They have
Yes,
more than City.
yeah. Okay.
Like, yeah, tie with they have more than City, more than Chelsea. I mean, clearly more than United, but
Yeah, clearly.
7 points in 6 games makes me wonder about your levels of optimism, but that's a different story. Let's go back
No,
to
I think if you go back, if
the
you
Manchester
go
United
back,
talk and
no,
the
no, if you go
relegation
back,
battle.
go back to the table from our let's see, from our regie. 10 points is 7th. That's a win, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
if you win, yeah, it is.
yes, if you win, yes. And 10 points is just 1 point behind Sunderland, which seems to be the target at the moment to take over Sunderland, and take over Chelsea as well. If you have, I think Chelsea's thing will be definitely over if you go out there this week, which I'm sure we are going to talk about it, and win there. Chelsea would be out cold,
Yeah,
and that's another manager change waiting to happen, I think.
it is. It is, especially after the money being spent.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have had I think they had let me pull up their schedule real quick. But they do have,
Mourinho actually goes to the game, goes to the team that he loses to. So he lost to Benfica from Fenerbahce and went. So maybe he's going back to Chelsea because he lost again.
yeah, so they started it with a draw against Palace, which is not the worst results we're seeing, right? Then they beat West Ham 5-1, and everybody was like, all right, here we go. But now we're realizing, well, that was West Ham. And I watched that game. It could have been 10-0 probably. It just got weird. Chelsea 2, Fulham 0. They tied Brentford away. They lost to you guys. And then now they lost to Brighton at home. And honestly, in between, there's some performance. Like, obviously, they lost to Bayern. They barely beat Lincoln City in the EFL Cup. So, yeah, it has not been impressive. So I can see a manager change there, to be honest with you. You're probably right over there. Let's look at the games over here because we have to do our upset picks as well. Let me get this on the screen. Okay. Some decent games this week, looks like. Let's see. Okay, Bournemouth, Fulham, Leeds, Tottenham. Actually, that'd be a fun game to watch, but I'm not waking up at 6:30 for that thing. United, Sunderland, Arsenal, West Ham. That's going to be a blowout, you would think. Chelsea, Liverpool is a big one. And then there's some interesting games in terms of that'd be fun to watch. I think Brentford City, for example, would be a interesting watch as well. So what catches your eye over here? Let's go with the upset first.
Brentford.
Really? Okay.
I think so. As you say, the other games are actually fun to watch games there. Newcastle Forest is a good game, to be honest. It's at 8 a.m. your time, but that I think is a good game as well.
Yeah, who would have thought that would be a bottom of the league kind of a battle?
Yeah.
Say 6 weeks in, but it's kind of weird. I'm going with Sunderland as my upsets over there. I do think they get something there. Going into,
and I think City will tumble over there.
Let me ask you this: if Sunderland beats United, is Amorim still a manager
That's
against
the thing, isn't
Liverpool and
it?
Anfield?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they're going to change before the Anfield game. We have the national international break.
Well, that's the Liverpool game is the first game after that.
The first game after that. That's the thing, isn't it? That is the question hanging over, like Tedesco in Fenerbahce.
Yeah.
People are waiting. If he loses this, if he loses that, that
Yeah.
is kind of pressure that sort of ruins the
But it's a
season.
more fair on Amorim, I think, than it is on, for example, we talk about Tedesco, a dude who showed up
Yeah,
like 2 weeks ago. Like
but,
he's
but
been, you look at his like history, forget the history in terms of points per game and stuff. I think it's like the lowest by far, even like freaking compared to Ole and stuff like that. So
yeah.
it's lowest by far. And I always think, I know you're more of an optimist because it's your team, but looking from far away, I don't see a person who I even worry about. He can clean this mess up. I think he's way over his head.
The thing is, the question is, if he goes, I think that's the main question. It's easy for him to go. I think he would be relieved almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you. Like,
so yes, I think he would rather be in Portugal than the sunny Portugal than the rainy England. But the real question for United is, who's going to replace him?
yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, who is going to come in and clean this mess, as you say, if not Amorim? Because I think it's a package. If you bring somebody in the middle of the season, you have to, unlike what they have done, is sort of to clean this mess, and the mess we are talking about is obviously the transfers that we have made and the high salaries that we have paid. I think if somebody is coming in, who would, for example, I mean, if you had a career in managing, a good career, would you expect the not expect accept the United job? Because what would you say in January? I would like a keeper and at least one centre back and two midfielders. Who are you going to get to actually sort of clean the mess? Because you would be sticking with these guys because you can't get rid of them, and then like you did to Garnacho, you are going to sort of do more stupid deals.
Yeah.
So I think somebody has to draw the line, and that is the higher management. Either they are going to say, like Wolverhampton has done, we are sticking with this guy. He's not a bad coach. We know he is not because he got the results, but we have another problem in the locker room or whatever. Sort of we have to clean the mess. Amorim is not the one to clean the mess because I don't think he has that authority.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he doesn't have that
Personality
personality.
wise,
Yeah.
or sort of I think United, like Fenerbahce, is not run by the manager for a long time. Ten Hag wasn't that sort of a character.
Yeah.
So it's.
But I think that's why that team needs more of I mean, we talk about these rehashes, but not a rehash, but somebody who already has their resume, right? To come in and say, I know what I'm doing over here. But it goes back to what you're saying. Those guys, and I know United job always is going to have his appeal. That's why, they're still able to sign top players and stuff like that. But if you're a big time manager, those offers are coming left and right. So while it would be appealing to be the United manager and the potential and everything like that, you would be like, I mean, I don't know, like, would you want that on your resume afterwards? Because then it's where managers go to die. And then you would rather just, I'll just wait another month and I'll just go to Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, the thing there is, if you are making a deal with United, I think you would have to be now learned your lesson. and get some conditions in there that I will be sort of the only one to speak out and sort of decide on everything, blah blah. I don't think that's the case. So they are
Yeah.
picking managers who would say, "Yes, sir, we can do it as
Yes.
you like."
But
Whatever.
those guys usually then don't have the percentage to go to Fernandez. They're saying yes, sir, to Fernandez too. Yes, sir. Go to his bench. Like,
If Fernandez is not choosing the manager, that's the other thing.
I know Portuguese guy.
I would not be surprised with this. Fernandez maybe keeps saying, "Well, hang on a few more years. I'm going to quit football and take the manager job as well."
He's the LeBron James of Premier League. Okay. Yeah. So it should be. So Chelsea, Liverpool. Let's get your pick on that one. How do you think that unfolds? It became a bigger game, and maybe as Liverpool fans, we're making it bigger than it is. To be honest with you, if you get a draw, for example, and you go to the international break all tied up with Arsenal, because I don't expect Arsenal to lose anything against West Ham. Is it really the end of the world at the end of the day? It just feels like, yeah, I mean, it's a long season, and you knew Arsenal was going to be there. I think people are shocked because the season is not over in week 8. And let's face it, there was the possibility you beat Palace and Newcastle get something against Arsenal. The possibility was there. It kind of went totally complete opposite. So the title race is back on. But it was never really over anyway. It was too early to be over.
No, but there's the possibility of Arsenal leading the pack after this week, mathematically at least.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the results. I'm more. I think people will decide more on the way the game goes. I mean, if Liverpool dominates and draws, that's something else. If they just sort of just scrape a point, that would be a different reaction. I think it's the same with Chelsea too. They won their game. Liverpool has a lot more to prove after losing 2 games, and sort of they I think Liverpool will want to win a lot more than Chelsea to just sort of shake the dust away from these 2 games and the aftertaste. After the Galatasaray game, they want to sort of go with the right foot in to this international break. So there's the danger. Chelsea would be content with a point more than Liverpool. True. I think.
Yes.
So that sort of again goes to the game. If the Chelsea manager, I don't know, the Pep wannabe. I always forget his name, so that is
Maresca.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he if he looked at Galatasaray or his team, this is not a bad way to go. Because
we talked about that though, right? Like when we were doing the watch along for the Arsenal City thing. It's not easy to get those guys to have the ego to just play D.
Yeah.
Because when we were looking at City, we were like, that's actually pretty impressive. They're sticking to it, to the discipline. Yes. I don't know if Chelsea has that discipline tactically.
Okay. If they take the lead, of course.
Well, that's the problem, yes.
I think it will be a cagey game. 0-0.
Really? I don't see the Liverpool defense stopping anybody, and no, I almost think like more like a crazy game, like a 4-2 or something like that. To be honest with you,
losing confidence, are we?
Well, the defense has not been good all season. No. To be fair, I mean they've conceded.
What about? Well, your new keeper, isn't it? I don't think they will.
Yeah, it's going to be Mamardashvili in goal, and that's another thing. Like we're going to see about that. I mean, he's a good goalkeeper. Not as good with his feet, but not as bad as we expected. The dude is huge, so he's very he really commands the box. Like when he comes out and stuff like that. We're just gonna see if he can keep you in the game with like 1v1s and stuff like that, we tend to give up because we do rely on that. I mean, we go back to, like Fenerbahce's old days when they had like Tony Schumacher, right? Like whenever it was 0-0, he always made that one save to keep things 0-0. And then like the team took care of the rest. you need a goalie like that. I mean, like I said, the Palace game would not even be close if it wasn't for Ali making those saves there. So, but I'm not as concerned with Mamardashvili. I'm more concerned about, how we're going to come out. Are we going to come out default settings, or like what is the mentality going to be? Normally, this would not be, like I say, I don't know if I am personally making more of this because it is Galatasaray than it actually would be if it was, somebody else. That's the part that's is the most painful to me over here. But we shall see. So we'll be here next week again, same time. I'm going Sunderland. You're going Brentford.
I went Brentford.
All right.
City.
Glenn will be happy to hear that. The only Brentford fan in the US was on the panel.
All right.
So he'll be happy to hear that. But have a great week, everybody. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, first thing. And actually, no panel show tonight. Speaking of Glenn, no panel show tonight. But we'll be back in. Actually, it's Wednesday. There was no panel show last night because of Glenn was under the weather. A couple of guys out of town and stuff like that. But those boys will be back in action next Tuesday. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Take care.